Don't you hate it when this happens to you? You're out with your friends climbing one of the tallest mountains in the world, and all of a sudden you just kind of pass out. Thankfully, your friends manage to drag you to the base of the mountain before Yeti gets to you. You wake up a few hours later, you're out of breath. Well, you managed not to fall down a cliff like last time. And you remember specifically putting no naps on your to-do list. Well, maybe your problem isn't clumsiness or inability to follow direction. Maybe you're missing one of the staples of a healthy life. Hi, I'm Brad Sorrell. You may remember me from such speeches as trees, a hidden menace. Help, I'm being chased by a giant mutant honey badger. And food and you, which holes to use and which to avoid. I'm here to tell you about a product that you literally can't live without. Oxygen. You may be asking yourself, what is oxygen exactly? Is it some kind of food? Maybe it's a machine that you use. Or perhaps it's a terrifying monster. Well, to put it simply, oxygen is a chemical that's all around you. It's in the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, and the monsters that you run from. But Brad, how does it work? Well, for the past 5 billion years, no one's really understood how oxygen worked. But after weeks of research, it's been found out that oxygen enters your bloodstream through your lungs when you breathe in. And through a combination of science and magic, recharges you, kind of like an internal battery. A horrible, horrible battery. Then, as you breathe out something called CO2, or antioxygen, that trees and other plants will breathe in. And they'll process that into regular oxygen and breathe it out, beginning the cycle anew. But wait a second, Brad. Isn't oxygen the chemical that's so reactive, if it's combined with a fuel source and an ignition source, it will literally explode? Well, yes, that's true. But don't think of it as a detriment. Think of it as an opportunity, or as I like to call it, an explodotunity. Because you see, everybody loves explosions, don't they? Of course they do. And without oxygen, most of those explosions wouldn't be possible. You know what else wouldn't be possible? You wouldn't have that fire that you bought to feed your family. Trichosaurus would be the thing of children's dreams instead of the thing of adults' nightmares. And your local arsonist, well, he wouldn't have his favorite hobby to pass the time. Also, you wouldn't be able to cook food, and you wouldn't be able to stay warm in the winter. But think of the explosions! Now, maybe you're still not convinced. Maybe you're thinking, Brad, I can kick this nasty oxygen habit. I'll just put myself in a metal tube and seal it. Live like this can of beans. They seem to be doing pretty well for themselves, right? But you know what else doesn't like oxygen? Botulism. One of the deadliest neurotoxins known to man. You know the best way to fight botulism? You guessed it. Truckazilla. Now that I've convinced you that oxygen isn't actively trying to hunt you for sport, let me tell you some of the things you can do if you decide to buy now. So you've got some friends coming over for a party. You want to make them some nice water. Well, here's a recipe that's sure to impress. Take 2 parts hydrogen, combine the electrons with 1 part oxygen, using a large wooden spoon or a ladle in a mixing bowl. Pour the contents into a glass and enjoy. But let's say your dog accidentally tries to make some water for himself, and he puts in a little too much oxygen, making H2O2, or hydrogen peroxide. Well, don't worry, you can use that batch as a hair dye or a household cleaner. Ever wanted your own private beach? Take 1 part silicone, combine 2 parts oxygen in a mixing bowl. I suggest using a fork. Mix vigorously to get a nice light, airy texture. Take that sand, combine it with the water from the first recipe, you're well on your way to your own private Myrtle Beach. This all sounds amazing, doesn't it? But it must be expensive, right? I mean, most people would expect to pay upwards of $1,000, $5,000, even $10 million for their own oxygen. Well, I've got a special offer for you. If you order in the next 5 billion years, you can get your metabolic oxygen for the low, low rate, 84 calories an hour. And it'll be delivered directly to your bloodstream. With such a fantastic offer, how could you refuse? But now you must be wondering, where can you find oxygen? Well, like I said before, It's literally all around you. So why don't you look in your local supermarket, or outside of your local supermarket? I'm Brad Sorgel, and I've been your host for this evening. And I hope you've enjoyed my speech, and I hope maybe you've learned a little bit about the value and importance of oxygen. Thank you.